trespassing on Latvian soil. Leave now.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. What if Doctor Doom was the main villain of the Multiverse Saga, but from the start? And we don't mean that like in Avengers Doomsday there's going to be a retcon that Doom was the main bad guy all along and we just didn't know it. Although we've done some pretty cool videos about that in the past. No, we're asking, what if the MCU actually built this saga around Doctor Doom from the start instead of a false start with Kang the Conqueror? Everything in the Infinity Saga was always building towards Thanos. So we're going to try and replicate this story structure and build an alternate version of the Multiverse Saga, but this time around Doctor Doom. And remember, you can find ScreenCrush on all your favorite podcast platforms, and right now we have a huge summer sale at our merch store, 20% off the entire site, plus we have new summer products. You can find links for those below. And we have an insane theory. We will explain all the changes and how the Multiverse Saga would have been so much better if Doctor Doom was the villain from the start.
What you got in there?
Doom.
Okay, so we're not going to waste any time. No point explaining why Kang didn't work. We all know why. And we're not going to start by telling you why Doom is just the best. He just is. Now, let's get the story started. In our version, Doom will have a presence throughout the saga, from Phase 4 all the way to Doomsday and Secret Wars in Phase 6. But he must never be the main villain of any movie or show before Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars. And to explain Doom's story, we first need to explain his origins in our version of the saga. Victor Von Doom was born to a Romani nomadic clan in Latveria. His father was a healer and his mother was a witch.
So wait, Latveria and Sokovia are the same place?
No, they're different countries in Europe. I mean, there are some theories that Sokovia became Latveria, and we also have a theory about that. But in this story, they're going to be separate places. Victor's people were persecuted by the Baron, who was the dictator ruling Latveria. To protect her clan and gain magical powers, Victor's mom, Cynthia, made a deal with Mephisto.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
But the spell went wrong and Mephisto stole Cynthia's soul, trapping her in hell. And this is key. This hell is actually a separate reality in the multiverse. Afterwards, Victor's father sacrificed himself to save his sons from the Baron's men.
Geez, this is even worse than Batman's childhood.
Exactly. Doctor Doom is basically what if Batman dedicated his life to fight evil dictators and save his mom from hell. But he's also the Darth Vader of Marvel Comics. He devoted his whole life to gaining the power that would allow him to save his mother's soul. That is the core of who he is. His greatest superpower is his sheer sense of will. He becomes a powerful sorcerer, second only to Doctor Strange. He's a super genius, second only to Reed Richards, who is the smartest man alive. Now, the main conflict of the Multiverse Saga needs to be a clash between Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Doom. The 2015 version of Secret Wars in the comics is the culmination of decades of this rivalry, and we are going to do the same. Imagine the ideological rivalry between Tony and Steve that was told through 3 phases. The same thing needs to happen here. So eventually, Victor goes to a university in New York and there he meets Reed Richards. Victor and Reed have this sort of jealous respect for each other. Both of them had theories about the multiverse, and in the university they work together and build a machine that opens the door to the multiverse. He wants to boldly go where no one has gone before, use this tech to improve life for everyone. But Reed understands that the risks of the multiverse are just too big. Such power can break the fabric of space-time and man wasn't meant to meddle medley.
But your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
Victor wants to use the multiverse to save his mother's soul and harness that limitless power to fix the world. But Victor's experiments blow up in his face, literally. His face was disfigured and his chance to save his mother was lost. Now, because Victor is so vain, he cannot accept responsibility for his failures, so he blames Reed for all of it. And this will factor into their rivalry in the multiverse crisis. Well, Doug, see you later.
Wait, person, are you leaving?
Yeah, man, I'm going to Scotland to visit Planet Aldani from Andor.
Scotland? But that is so far away, and I will miss you ever so much.
That's okay, buddy. While I'm gone, we can text, tweet, FaceTime, post videos on my phone, everything.
No, person, we must not. That is too expensive. What about all those data roaming fees?
Oh, buddy, it's not too expensive because I just downloaded the Saley eSIM app. Saley has completely changed the way I travel. I download it before I even get to the airport, I choose a data plan, and then as soon as I land in another country, I have internet. Guys, I have been all over the world. I've been to India, the UK, Belgium, France, and traveling traveling to these places used to be a huge hassle. I would land at the airport, buy a local phone or a phone card or a SIM card, or just pay huge roaming fees to the phone company. So trust me when I tell you that Saley eSIM is the way to go. If you want to start traveling this year, you need this app, and that is why I love having them as a sponsor for this video. Everywhere I went in the Scottish Highlands, I can use my phone to watch videos, play games, and best of all, share my experience on social media. Also, it makes it easier for me to work when I'm away because I can stream and upload videos without having to worry about massive roaming fees. And it is so easy to use. You download the app and then you choose your data plan. And by the way, make sure you apply our coupon code ScreenCrush for 15% off. That's our exclusive discount. And then you can make calls, use the internet, and it makes traveling so much more fun and stress-free. Saley is easy and all plans are compatible with iOS and Android devices. And they offer 24/7 support and a full refund if your device is not eSIM compatible. Saley is so easy and so affordable, it's just like bringing a little piece of home with you on your trip. So to get an exclusive 15% discount on all Saley data plans, use the code ScreenCrush at checkout. It helps out our channel and you won't regret it. You can click the link below or scan this QR code. Now, back to what I was saying. After the accident, Victor is at his lowest, but his sheer willpower will not allow him to give up. And then he turns on the news and sees the Avengers. And this is where I reveal that our version of Doctor Doom is not from an alternate universe.
What?
Instead, he originates from Earth 616. That is the main MCU continuity.
So wait, Doom doesn't look like Tony Stark?
No, that is confusing, and we're not doing that for our version of the story. I mean, hey, no hate for what the MCU are doing. I'm sure it's going to be great. But for our story, it makes sense that Doom and the Fantastic Four are from the same universe as the Avengers.
I guess. Or who's going to play your Doctor Doom then? Cillian Murphy?
Yeah, Cillian Murphy, obvious choice. But to keep it original, here's a few other names. Alexander Skarsgård or Nikolaj Coster-Waldau would be great. I also really like Viggo Mortensen. He might be in his 60s, but he would kill it as Doom. But our pick is Lee Pace.
Hey, wait a minute. That's the Space Smurf from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes, he played Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and Captain Marvel, and he was criminally wasted. And he's like 6'5", so just imagine him towering over everyone in that Doom armor.
Go back to your worlds. Tell the living and the dead you failed to save them.
So Victor becomes Doctor Doom, and he goes back to his home country because of the Avengers. What drives him is pure disdain for the heroes.
All right, what's his freaking problem?
Well, the Avengers saved the world, but from his point of view, it's all reactionary and temporary heroics. They don't make the world better. They're too afraid to use their gifts to make real change. Too righteous to do what's necessary. Useful morons who allow other useless morons to run the world. But Doom knows that he can do better.
You are nothing to Doom, so please, stop embarrassing yourself.
Okay.
So he gets his armor and returns to Latveria, and this is right after Thanos and the Snap. You see, in our version, the Snap and the Blip have actual consequences. In those 5 years when 50% of the world was dusted, many people in the world blamed the Avengers, and there was this anti-superhero sentiment. And even after the blip, people didn't forget or forgive. The world is in chaos, war erupts in Europe, and the Baron, who oppressed Victor's people, is using the chaos post-Snap to invade other nations and oppress others. But the Avengers failed to contain this crisis. And for Doom, this is proof that the Avengers are inefficient. So Doom unites his people, he leads a revolt against the Baron, and liberates his country. However, afterwards, Doom installs himself as the new ruler of Latveria, meaning he becomes a dictator. But his people love him and accept him as their new supreme leader because he saved them from the chaos of the post-blip world. He provides for them and keeps them safe and protected.
Oh, so he's one of those nice dictators, tyrannical but fair.
Well, Doom is not a hero. His vanity creates this hypocritical entitlement. He believes that he and only he can rule the world, because only he has the intelligence and the willpower to create the perfect utopia, just like he did in Latveria.
I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
And there are some hints in the comics that Doom is actually right about that. That's the thing that makes him such a great character. Deep down, he wants to make things better and fix the world, it's just that he goes about it in a really messed up way. And with the multiversal war, this explains why Doom will seek to rule the multiverse. So this covers Doom's origins, and most of it will be revealed in the Fantastic Four movie, which would happen in Phase 4.
Oh man, is Doctor Doom the villain of a Fantastic Four movie again?
No, he will be in the movie, but the villain is Kang. No multiverse, just good old time travel, and also no Quantumania.
I am Kang! Shut up, bitch!
Really no need for that. Kang travels from the future to kill Sue Storm.
Or was he like a Terminator? Why's he gotta kill Sue?
Well, his entire timeline is being erased because of something that is happening in the present. Sue is pregnant, and according to Kang, her son Franklin is a threat to the entire multiverse.
Bad baby.
Franklin is a reality warper, and for reasons we will explain later, his birth will destabilize space-time and lead to a chain of events that will kill the multiverse. The Fantastic Four will beat Kang, but when Sue gives birth, something happens to space-time. The barrier between realities starts crumbling. The end has just started. And at the end of the movie, Doom finds some of Kang's tech and starts reverse engineering it. So this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The events of this movie put Doom and Reed on the path to uncover the multiversal crisis.
Your work is based on his work, and his work is based on your work.
Exactly which came first.
It's like a snake eating its own tail.
So this starts Doom's master plan for the multiverse, because over the course of the saga, he pulls the strings from the shadows, the mastermind who manipulates everyone.
Amateurs seek the sun, get eaten. Power stays in the shadows.
When he walks into a room, Doom needs to have this air of entitled superiority, like he always knows the answers to questions that the heroes didn't even think to ask yet. He needs to have contingency plans to defeat everyone, a lot like Batman.
And created contingency plans to neutralize you, should that ever become necessary.
And when the heroes attack him, he shrugs it off. It's like it's a nuisance to him. Even if they hurt him, Doom is just taking his time for the perfect counterattack that will just end the heroes. Doom needs to be like no other villain we've ever seen in the MCU, because no other villain is like him. And the most important aspect is how Doom challenges the morals of the heroes. And when it comes to the multiversal crisis, his way might be the only way.
So what's his way?
Well, this brings us to the multiverse stakes and rules. Doom discovers that the biggest threat to reality are incursions.
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide, destroying one or both entirely.
And yes, the incursions from the MCU and the comics are also part of this story. There is something that caused them, maybe even someone.
So who did it? Was it Kang?
No, it definitely wasn't Kang. The identity of that someone is a big twist that we are going to reveal later. Like in the comics, the incursions warp space-time. When an incursion is triggered, two worlds from two separate universes collide. If the two worlds destroy each other, the universes are erased from existence.
Anybody knows you gotta keep your worlds apart!
However, Doom discovers a loophole. If one of the planets is destroyed first, and the other planet and the two universes both survive. So this creates a trolley problem. Destroy one world, save two universes. Try to save both worlds, and you risk the death of two entire universes.
Logic clearly dictates that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
And that is what the multiverse conflict needs to be. A test for the moral compass of the heroes as they face the overwhelming scale of the multiverse. And this is why it is crucial that Doom comes from Earth 616. Because this is his world, he will do anything to protect this universe from multiversal invaders.
This world is mine to rule, and mine alone.
Now, we're not going to explain every single movie and show in this saga. That would take longer than the actual Infinity Saga. But we do need to focus on a few key events and how they relate to Doom's plan. Phase 4 will focus on the new Avengers assembling, because yes, we need a new Avengers team to develop across the saga.
So who's going to be the villain of Avengers 5?
The only villain that makes sense.
What if the ones closest to us, the ones we've trusted our whole lives, were someone else entirely? What if they weren't even human? Skrulls.
Skrulls? Ah, really, person?
Yes, like we've said many times on this channel before, this movie will be Avengers Secret Invasion. So Phase 4 will build toward the Skrull invasion, with different characters being revealed as imposters and all that stuff. The main thing is that Avengers Secret Invasion will establish the two main themes of the saga, paranoia and how it drives the heroes into taking drastic measures to protect the world and the multiverse.
Somebody in this camp ain't what he appears to be. Right now, that may be one or two of us. By spring, it could be all of us.
So how do we know who's human?
The new Avengers defeat the Skrulls, but the real hero of the day is actually Thunderbolt Ross. Ross shows up and uses a bioweapon that forces the Skrulls to shapeshift back to their original forms.
Wait, where did he get that from, the leader?
No, the device was created and given to Ross by Dr. Doom.
Oh, but why?
Well, Doom knew about the Skrulls for years. He considered them a threat that was beneath him, but then he saw an opportunity to exploit the Skrulls. So Ross uses this to create anti-Avengers propaganda and rise to power. Doom helps him in secret.
But why?
Because Doom's plan is to use Ross to create an alliance of superhuman individuals who can fight in the multiversal war.
Wait, isn't Doom like a super powerful tech wizard? How come he needs a team of super people?
Well, Doom doesn't do his own dirty work.
That would be beneath me. Such chores are what people like you are for.
Besides, deep down inside, Doom wants to prove that he is better than these new Avengers. So he helps Ross create his government-approved Avengers team, and Doom is the one who turns Bob into the Sentry, because the Sentry can become a universe-destroying weapon, and Doom also helps to turn Ross into the Red Hulk. But unlike Banner, Ross is still in full control when he hulks out.
You can either surrender peacefully, or you can resist. Please resist.
Hey, this is starting to sound familiar.
Yeah, a few weeks ago I did a video where we kind of rewrote the Multiverse Saga to make it sense, so we are using some ideas from that video. But this time, we are relaunching this baby from the start with Dr. Doom in control of everything in this saga. So, the new Avengers Secret Invasion movie leads to a dark arc for the heroes in Phase 5. The best way to explain our vision here is a combination of Dark Reign from the comics and the Cadmus arc from Justice League Unlimited animated series.
Passing judgment like gods. With our superpowered army and our orbiting death ray, Cadmus is right to be scared.
Ross rises to power, creating an authoritarian regime by weaponizing the Skrull propaganda. At the same time, the new Avengers must take steps to protect this very fragile world, without even knowing what's happening out in the multiverse. And then Doom manipulates Namor to attack Wakanda, because he wants to weaken Wakanda so that at some point he can take all that sweet, sweet vibranium for his own.
This is a trap. This is what Dr. Doom wants.
But before that happens, in Phase 5, the world will discover what's happening in the multiverse. There's an incursion in space, and the universe is invaded. And we get a space war movie with the cosmic heroes. This revelation starts a whole new paranoia, because many factions start making plans for this inevitable war. And this conflict will later lead into the new Avengers' Dark Reign in Phase 5. Ross justifies the invasion of Wakanda, claiming that the entire world needs vibranium to protect itself. And it will be the new Avengers versus Ross's super team, the Dark Avengers. And Doom will then use all of that chaos to just swoop in and take all the vibranium that he needs, just like in the awesome Doom War story from the comics.
Or what's that about?
Well, Doom steals the vibranium and enhances it with magic to become a god. Doom stealing something to become a god is kind of his thing in the comics. In both versions of Secret Wars, Doom steals some cosmic power to become a god. But this also leads to our version of the Illuminati.
Okay, so what's their deal?
Well, to explain the Illuminati, first we have to talk about our version of Doctor Strange 2. Alright, so a few things will play differently with the story. The first big change is WandaVision. In our story, Wanda was manipulated all along by none other than Mephisto.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast!
So, Mephisto wants to turn Wanda into his evil chaos magic weapon. Also, our Mephisto is like Al Pacino in The Devil's Advocate.
I'm here on the ground with my nose in it since the whole thing began. I've nurtured every sensation man has been inspired to have.
Wanda puts the universe at risk because of her actions under the manipulations of Mephisto.
Satanic black magic. Sick shit.
To save Wanda and the world, Steven needs to enter Mephisto's realm. And who's got serious beef with Mephisto?
Oh yeah, Dr. Doom, because that evil guy stole his mom's soul.
Exactly. High five. So Doom forms an alliance with Strange.
Oh yeah, magic bros teaming up to fight demons, sign me up.
Yes, the movie is about two magical doctors working together to save Wanda in hell. But Doom has his own plans to save his mother's soul, and he makes a secret deal with Mephisto, his mother's soul in exchange for Wanda and the Sorcerer Supreme himself.
Ah, jeez, what a filthy traitor. All this time, he's just gonna sell everybody out to Satan?
Well, yeah, that's what everybody thinks. Even Cynthia denounces her own son. But Doom always has a plan, and there is no way he's gonna work with Mephisto after what he did to his mom. Doom tricks Mephisto to free his mother, but he also helps Wanda free Strange. And while he's in Mephisto's dimension, Steven is corrupted by some dark magic. So he starts using the dark side, similar to Strange Supreme from What If. And with the dark side and Doom in his ear, Steven understands that as the Sorcerer Supreme, he must take drastic actions to protect the universe from incursions. Therefore, he forms the Illuminati.
The Illumawati?
Now, this version of the Illuminati is formed by very powerful individuals from different universes. Those who are willing to do what's necessary to deal with the incursions. So they include Strange, Namor, Ross.
Wait a minute, Steven's gonna work with Red Hulk? What the heck?
Well, Doctor Strange doesn't trust Ross and he disagrees with his anti-Avengers agenda. But remember, Ross is the Red Hulk, and Strange needs individuals who are willing to do some really messed up things to save the multiverse. And since Sentry is at this point Ross's Homelander, Bob has no choice choice but to be on the team. But this team also includes a variant of Hank Pym, who's younger than our Hank, and he is the Ant-Man of his universe. But after some bad stuff happened to him, he became Yellow Jacket.
This is sadistic, Hank. You used to dream of rehabilitating criminals.
I'm not Hank! I'm everything Pym couldn't be.
There's also a variant of Eric Killmonger.
What's up?
Who is the Black Panther of his universe after successfully building his own Wakandan empire. And finally, Charles Xavier from the Fox universe.
Logan, you have to understand.
You're talking about a person's mind here, about Jean.
She has to be controlled.
Control?
So there's no X-Men reboot in our version either. That will happen in the Mutant Saga.
Next time, baby.
Strange recruits Reed into the team, but once Reed sees what the Illuminati are doing, he bails.
Wait, so what's the Illuminati doing?
Well, under Doom, the Illuminati destroy other worlds to stop incursions and save their own. And this is what makes this story so interesting. The core of the story is about how heroes and villains react to the incursions. What are they willing to do to save their worlds, and how far would some heroes go to preserve their universes?
Oh, some of these guys are gonna die.
In the grand calculus of the multiverse, their sacrifice means infinitely more than their lives.
Now, the next Fantastic Four movie is about the Fantastic Four stopping Galactus from destroying universes. After Reed witnesses the insurmountable odds of the multiverse, he obsesses over finding a solution, because Reed always wants to fix everything with science.
Yes, science!
He constructs the bridge. It's like this Stargate that allows Reed to travel the multiverse. And indirectly, this was Doom's plan too. He wanted Reed to work on the multiverse problem because
I am the smartest man alive!
Doom is too proud and vain to ever admit that he needs Reed's help. But Doom also knows that if anyone can solve the multiversal puzzle, it's Reed. And Reed ends up dragging his family to other universes to search for ways to stop incursions without destroying worlds. And this leads to him meeting the Council of Reeds, a multiverse alliance of many variants of himself. But more importantly, this is where the Fantastic Four encounter Galactus for the first time. So in our version, Galactus is a force of balance in the multiverse. He originates from the previous version of the multiverse, one that was erased, and he was reborn as Galactus. And now he travels between universes, feeding on worlds that trigger incursions. When he consumes a world, all of its energy is then stored inside Galactus. He's sort of like a mobile black hole. His purpose is to absorb the energy of the entire universe until it ends. And then Galactus will restart the next universe with all of that stored energy.
So the Big Bang is just a giant space vomit?
That's gross.
And when the Fantastic Four face off against Galactus, they discover Franklin's role in the multiverse cycle. He can warp reality at will and even create universes. And his very existence is a disturbance in the universe that attracts Galactus.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force.
Galactus reveals that he has sensed Franklin's reality warping powers, and he chooses him as his successor.
Wait, what? How's that even work?
Well, Galactus knows that the multiverse is doomed no matter what he does. And with his immense power, he knows that he and Franklin will be there at the end of everything. And Franklin will need to become the new Galactus of the next multiverse, so the cycle will continue for all of eternity.
That's the proper flow of time, and it happens again and again and again because it's supposed to, because it has to.
This is from the comics, by the way. This is way too insane for us to make up. So, the Fantastic Four try to stop Galactus from consuming an alternate Earth. Reed tries to build a device that will stop the incursion. But it all fails, and both universes are destroyed, and the Fantastic Four barely escape. And now Galactus is coming for Earth 616.
So it begins.
The Fantastic Four failed to stop the incursion. However, all of that death isn't for nothing. Galactus survives the incursions because of his cosmic energy. So Reed gets some of that energy and discovers how to use it. Back on Earth 616, the Fantastic Four team, with the other heroes from their universe and others, try to build this Noah's Ark that will survive the death of the multiverse. And they do it with that Galactus energy. And they try to save as many people as possible. And this is in contrast to the Illuminati, who actively destroy other worlds to save their own. But at this point, Doom sees that the multiverse is doomed. His actions have made things far worse. So it's time for his endgame. He ain't gonna hide in some life raft. In order to save the multiverse, he must become a god. And the only way to do that is to steal reality warping powers from a real god.
Okay, so who's the god? Celestial, Galactus, Loki?
Well, this brings us to the big twist of the story and the individual who is responsible for the multiverse crisis. So, taking Kang out of the story is easy, but there's one giant thread that we didn't touch, and that is He Who Remains. The show Loki revealed that the multiverse crisis was caused by Kang and his variants. A Kang variant called He Who Remains won the Kang War, and he created a protected timeline that he ruled like a god. And then he created the TVA to enforce this timeline.
The Time Variance Authority. We're really a watchdog organization, except we're more light-hearted.
Now sure, we can just ignore He Who Remains, but where's the fun in that? Because we've got a way to make it work by replacing He Who Remains with a character that actually fits that role much better. And that is the Beyonder.
Wow, he looks like a character out of the Righteous Gemstones. Who's that guy?
Well, the Beyonder is basically a cosmic, godlike being. Marvel Comics did a lot of retcons to his origins, but essentially, he's part of a race of powerful beings who maintain the multiverse from the outside of reality. Hence, they're called the Beyonders. In 2015's Secret Wars story, the Beyonders decided to just end the multiverse as part of some giant experiment. But in the original Secret Wars from the 80s, the Beyonder, just the one guy, sent a bunch of heroes and villains to Battleworld. That's the planet that the Beyonder created. And he forced them to play his Squid Games to see if good could triumph over evil. Basically, he's like Q from Star Trek The Next Generation.
You're dead. This is the afterlife. And I'm God. You are not God. Blasphemy. You're lucky I don't cast you out or smite you or something.
But in our story, the Beyonder will be an amalgamation of these two versions from Secret Wars. And the best way to explain our Beyonder's personality is to cast the one and only David Tennant in the role.
Oh, evil Doctor Who, spicy.
Although, if the MCU really wants Robert Downey Jr. back, he would be perfect as the Beyonder. So, our Beyonder is this all-powerful being that oversees the multiverse, hence why he created the TVA. But, because the Beyonder is this curious man-child with godlike powers, he wants to see what happens if the multiverse is pushed into a massive crisis, how every universe will react to the incursions, and how those with great powers will deal with them. So, he creates the trolley problem of the multiverse.
I made the trolley problem real so we could see how the ethics would actually play out.
Wait, so the Beyonder is the real villain and not Dr. Doom?
No, Doom is still the villain, and the Beyonder isn't some evil space god who wants to destroy the multiverse. He simply gives everyone in the multiverse a little push and sits back to see what happens. Like in the original Secret Wars from the comics, the Beyonder wants to see if good could triumph over evil. Only in our version, he wants to see if the inhabitants of the multiverse are willing to work together, or will they destroy each other to save themselves. And to me, this is the most interesting aspect of what the Multiverse Saga needs to be. It all comes down to the perspective on how to deal with these impossible consequences.
Because my entire world is right here in this picture. It's only 9 people, and I have no idea how to save it alone.
So, the twist of the multiverse is that the people who are responsible for the death of the multiverse are just a bunch of irresponsible idiots who mess around with forces that they don't really understand. And now the natural law of reality pushes back with the death of everything. And so, the show Loki comes down to Loki confronting the Beyonder about his disregard for all life in the multiverse. So, the Beyonder ends up giving Loki a cosmic boost and sends him to prove him wrong by assembling a team that will stop the end of the multiverse. And this take on the Beyonder works so well for Doom's story. Victor's life was shaped by the trauma caused by a tyrannical dictator and the devil. So imagine how he reacts when he discovers that the multiverse crisis started because of a man-child with godlike powers. So, just like how Doom liberated Latveria from the Baron only to become a tyrant himself, Doom is planning to depose the Beyonder, take his godly power, and build a utopia. And this brings us to the culmination of the Multiverse Saga, Avengers Doomsday, and Secret Wars.
We come to it at last.
In Doomsday, Loki builds a multiversal alliance of champions for the war, as the multiverse starts dying and only a few realities are left. And those other worlds are invading Earth 616. Doom and the Illuminati clash with the multiversal Avengers. And then Galactus joins the party for one last meal. With everything coming to an end, Doom finally executes his endgame. He built a device from vibranium and enhanced it with magic, and he uses it to absorb the energy from Galactus. With that energy, he confronts the Beyonder and steals his godly powers. And then, when everything ends and the multiverse dies, he becomes God Emperor Doom. He uses that Beyonder power to create a new universe called Battle World. This is a patchwork reality that consists of the few universes that Doom manages to salvage. But Doom's new world is far from a utopia. The interesting part about Battle World is that it serves as a tragic monument to Doom's vanity. He always wanted to rule the world because he believed he was the only one who could do it right. But Doom's perfect world is crumbling. It's failing. Despite all of Doom's beliefs, his vanity created a broken world.
Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely.
All-out war is imminent. The fabric of this reality is threatening to shatter at any given moment. And the only thing that holds it together is Doom and the reality-warping powers of Franklin Richards. But hope arrives in the movie Secret Wars. In the final moments of the multiverse, Loki sacrifices himself to save a few champions. They survive in Reed's life raft, which crash lands on Battleworld. This alliance consists of members of the new Avengers and some heroes from other universes. And they rise up against the God Emperor.
Is that everyone?
But you wanted more?
Everyone! Strange finally sees that he chose the wrong side and he betrays Doom and helps the heroes. In the climax, Reed and Doom clash in a final battle, a battle that was building since Phase 4. And in the end, Doom finally admits that he failed, that his perfect world was a shattered lie. And Reed takes away all that power with the help of Franklin. And finally, he fixes everything when he restarts the multiverse.
The trolley problem forces you to choose between two versions of letting other people die, and the actual solution is very simple. Sacrifice yourself.
And then, of course, we get that soft MCU reboot with a new Earth 616 continuity and the start of the Mutant Saga. And this will be the payoff to this story with Doom at the center. And that is our version of the Multiverse Saga if Dr. Doom was the villain from the start. So, what do you guys think about our story? Do you think that Doom should have always been the villain or not? And should we do a video like this but for the Mutant Saga? Big shout out to Pavel T who wrote and edited this video. You can find his links below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.